Right now, I'm putting these four nymph faces aside for a couple of days. I just made impressions of these into a piece of porcelain, and that's currently being fired in the kiln right now. And while that's waiting, I started working on a second sculpture, which is based off of this manuscript illustration. I'll be doing the same technique with this one, where I'm sculpting the face out of polymer clay, and then I'm going to make a mold of that and make the face out of porcelain. And I think I'm going to make the rest of the body out of metal, actually. I haven't quite decided about that, but I thought that while I was on a roll with sculpting the faces, that I would go ahead and sculpt this one's face too. It's a little bit different to try to sculpt closed eyes, even though this one, its eyes are going to be open in the final sculpture, but those details aren't there yet. So they don't look very different right now, but this is an idea of what she would look like with eye details. But this one is not going to have that. It's not really clear whether this is some kind of a headdress or like a veil, or if this is actually her hair. So I'd like to keep that sort of ambiguous. So keeping it as close as possible to that shape. And I'm trying to make it look as though both eyes are closed, even though I think that the drawing kind of looks like she has one eye open, but for my sculpture, I want her to have both eyes closed. Maybe I'll do another sculpture where she has one eye open. This piece is going to be partially made of metal because I want it to be electrically conductive. This is going to be inside a glass plasma tube filled with inert gases and lit up with electricity so that there's going to be a star shape over on the left side and then this on the right side. And each of these is going to be connected to its own separate electrode. So a piece of metal going from here through the glass to the out, from the inside of the glass to the outside, and that's what will be connected to the electricity. So when each of these is electrified, if everything works the way I want it to, it's going to have a lightning effect going between the two sculptures inside the plasma tube. This is a pretty slow process. I have to smooth down each layer before I add another one on top. So you'll probably be seeing this with lots of parts cut out. But really, it's taking quite a long time. None of the nymphs have ears, by the way. Makes my job a little bit easier. I still don't know exactly if this is hair or if it's some kind of head covering, so I'm making it so that it looks like it could kind of be either one. Going over the polymer clay with a brush just to smooth out any small details that are too small for me to get in with my other tools. This is the finished polymer clay face after it's been baked in the oven. So now this is hardened enough so that I can make an impression of it in this piece of porcelain. That's about as far as I can press it into the clay without distorting the shape. And I have to try to carefully pull it out without distorting the shape. So this is a reverse image here. I'm going to fire this clay and then press some new porcelain in it to make a positive copy of this in porcelain. And the next stage of this sculpture is really just figuring out how I'm going to make this part in metal and attach it to the porcelain head. What I may do is sort of extend the porcelain at the neck and make kind of like some little invisible holes in there that I can attach underneath a sheet of metal so that it looks kind of seamless. And I haven't quite figured that part out yet. Also, I need to figure out how to structure this little sculpture inside a larger glass tube. And that's also something that I need to work on the design stages. So after this, I'm probably going to go back to my previous sculpture, this one, and I'll be sculpting the body and head of these 4 nymphs for my other sculpture.